There are a ton of political podcasts on the internet. A lot of them lean to the left. A lot of them lean to the right. So predictable. But not this one, shooting you straight between the eyes with the truth. This is the Middle Ground Podcast. From Murfreesboro, Tennessee, for Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and Rutherford County, this is the Middle Ground Podcast, and this is Answer Fancher.
Hey guys, you beat me to the tie here. Are you ready to talk about national politics? Let me pull up my chat so I can see you guys. Hey, you know, I also have my phone, and so you can call in probably. Ought to be fun chat this morning. Yes, I agree. I totally agree. But I'm a little worried. Any of you guys worried out there? Am I the only person? It's actually harder to do this on camera than it is to like just talk amongst yourselves right now while I tie this tie. The camera's backwards, so it throws me off. So I can do this way easier by myself, to be honest. Aha, here we go. Almost got it. All right. So, what do you think? Oh, man, that looks really bad. Stock up on non-perishable food and ammo. Maybe. You really think so, Dallas? My brother watches on YouTube. So we'll start off there. We've allowed this disaster of a president to go unchecked. Let me show these things as they pop up here. Yes. So the issue here we've got going on right now. We'll start from the top. It's January 6th. If you're following Q, I don't. Friends that do. January 6th was the day of the storm. That's what we got in this nation. A storm for sure. A storm that's probably been brewing for a while would be my guess. Oh, that's Jason Bennett. Nice. All right. I get it now. All good. So I thought I had a 30-day ban. Just the kind of people I like to have around on this show, man. Look at you with a backup account. Very impressive. I don't have a backup account. So there was a part of me that was worried about talking about what went down on January 6th, because, my wife, I love her and she loves me, but she doesn't like for me to talk about these controversial issues. And I don't blame her, you know. There's a part of me that there's a part of me that wouldn't mind just going back to sleep, you know. I'm not really sure if you can, though. Once you wake up, I'm not sure if you can go back to sleep. And so that's kind of the problem. But let's talk about what happened. You know, you guys were, I don't know, maybe you weren't watching it live, but I was. Thank you, C-SPAN, for providing coverage of what was going on. And here's the deal. Here's what got me in trouble on Facebook was that I posted that I thought that it was great that they were contesting the ballots as they were coming in, you know? So like there's this, those of you that haven't been paying attention, but somehow watch my show, which wouldn't make sense. But anyway, there's, you know, they have to officially count the Electoral College ballots. They have to count those. And so they bring them in to officially count them. And it's traditionally, it's very ceremonial, but there has been some people who have challenged them in the past. There have been, with Al Gore, there was a senator who challenged the counting of the ballots. And so this isn't brand new. This isn't new what has occurred. that the challenging of the ballots is not new. And so, yeah, I agree, Bill. Not talking about controversial issues is a big part of the problem. Well, not talking amongst different ideas, I think, is the problem, Bill, right? A lot of people talk about it on the right. They all sit around and they talk about what's going on and how they feel about it. And then a lot of people on the left, they sit around and talk about it, but not a lot of mixing of the two ideas so that way we can remember that we're all on the same side. But we have different ideas and we need to hash those out. And we need to talk about them. When I lived in Mexico, they don't have as many racial problems, in my opinion, because they talk about the different races and the differences and the feelings and things of that nature. They're very open about it. Man, here we're just so tied up in our own circles and we don't talk to each other. It's just really, really rough. You got to get in the whole pond and talk about it. I agree, Jason. So that's what I'm trying to do on this show. That's why I'm willing to dip my toes in the pond of this national issue. So let's get back to it. So they bring them up, and I got in trouble because I said that I was glad that they were talking about it, that they were arguing about it, and I said that I enjoyed the applause. And I do. My goodness, who doesn't love a good round of applause? I wish I had you guys live, and when I'd say something like clever, like, not that I do it often, but if I did and you applauded it, that'd be awesome because I think that's cool. And I watch Parliament, and they go at each other. And so they really let people have it. And so I enjoy that. And I mentioned that in my Facebook feed. And I was talking about it on my personal Facebook feed, which I have promised that I wouldn't talk about politics on my personal feed, and every now and then I break those rules, and I'm sorry for that. But especially on this case, because I said that I was enjoying the applause lines. I thought it was great. I like a good harumph, and when a good point is made, I think other people ought to be like harumph and yeah, and that and really let people have it, because we need to have this discussion. We need to talk about this. I was telling someone that I feel like I don't know if the election was stolen, and I know that I've got friends that are watching right now that that believe that it was stolen. And they honestly believe that it was stolen. And I've got friends on the other side who honestly believe that it was not stolen. And so I just feel like we needed our day in court. You need a day where all your ideas are put out on the table and you're like, yes, I believe that. That I believe. And then other people can be like, no, I don't believe that. And this is why. And so that's the House of Representatives. That's the Senate. These are where our great debates should take place. And they didn't. And just when things were getting started, just when things were getting good debate was occurring. Good, peaceful debate was occurring. Next thing you know, I'm watching on C-SPAN and people are like moving around and you're hearing the stuff going on. And then they shut the sound off on C-SPAN. They shut the sound off so you couldn't hear what was going on. And next thing you know, we've got trouble and there's tear gas and shots fired and people dead. And that's not American, man. That is not American. Think about like the Boston Massacre, right? Like people died at it. I can't remember the guy's name, but the black guy that died at the Boston Massacre. It's not cool when people die, man. It's not cool. We are to be allowed to debate these things. We are. It's what makes us different. At least that's what we tell ourselves. And so, all right, so that's where we are, right? So that occurred. Now, I definitely will talk about cancel culture, Michael. So now January 6th, the storm has occurred. People went there. Some people got crazy, looks like. Some people say that that it was Antifa. Some people say that it wasn't, but that's an excuse. I don't know. I know this, that there were a lot of people there that were planning on peacefully protesting. I know this, that I've been involved in acts of that I'm not proud of. When I was younger, I was a football player and in a fraternity, and I know that when the glass breaks, other things get broken very quickly. There's something primal inside of us that that is unleashed when you're in a group of people and things get going, and if craziness occurs, man, everybody seems to join in, and it takes a great man to stop and say, "Whoa, we're better than this. Stop." And it doesn't sound like there were many people there that were saying stop on that day. And so I'm disappointed in that. I'm very, very disappointed in that. That there wasn't someone there to say stop. And the question is, were the doors left open on purpose? Were barricades removed on purpose? And hopefully we'll find those answers out. I really hope we'll find those answers out. But so here we are now as a nation. The storm has occurred, and now we're dealing with the cleanup of it. The Democrats on the left, there's blood in the water for them. They know that. They are pushing. They're pushing to have the president removed. He said that he's gonna leave office in 10 days now, 10 or 11 days. Going to peacefully transfer power to Joe Biden. That's what has been said. When he came out in that Easter tie of his, the baby blue, I don't know if any of you guys saw that. I thought that he looked like a man that had been beat. And now he didn't concede, I don't think, in that. But I think when you say you're going to leave peacefully, that's conceding. It's a shame we've gotten to this point. Don't you think that's a shame that we've gotten to this point? But how did we get here? How did we get to this point? How did we get to where Donald Trump is speaking for so many people? 74 million people voted for him. I'm sure after January 6th, there are a lot of people that are like, maybe I shouldn't have voted for that guy. Maybe I don't agree with that. I don't think that we should just place all the blame on one person so we can cast him into the bin of history and move on. I don't think that we can do that. I think that we need to talk more about this. I think we need to talk more about what it divides us. You know, as a libertarian, I feel like the reason that we're divided right now is because the federal government has gotten too large. It matters too much who is president. It matters too much to people who is president because there's so much power that is being issued there. There's so much money involved. There's so much. Look, Joe Biden's out saying he's going to send $2,000 checks to everyone. $2,000 is a lot of money. At least it used to be. I think it still is for a little bit longer. There's too much power there. Too much. We've given them too much power. And so it matters who's president. It matters who leads there. Got a lot of fanchers watching this show today. So here we are. Like my brother says, 74 million disenfranchised. So I don't know if it's 74 million, but there's a lot of people that aren't happy right now. A lot of people are not happy. So where do we go from here? Let's talk about cancel culture, because that's what's going on right now. Right now, the president's being canceled on all the different platforms. Eric Sewell, big fan of the show. Not really, probably, but I do love that he offers alternative views than mine, and so I like having him here. Not the cause of our problems, but a symptom. Trump would have never gotten office if he hadn't really been in dire straits. Eric, I agree with that. I agree. He and I believe it was what's his name, Michael Moore, who said that Trump was the giant middle finger to the government. That people were so fed up, they're giving the middle finger to the government. And I agree with that statement. And Michael Moore thought that Trump would win again. Totally thought. If let's see what David Criswell has to say. If Twitter would have banned Trump 3 years ago, he'd probably have had a 10% higher approval rate on re-election. I've heard that from multiple people, David. You're like people they were questioning whether or not it was smart for Trump to use Twitter the way he did. Trump is a disruptor. He's done things way different than previous politicians. I personally am a fan of people being able to, especially elected politicians, being able to go straight to the people without a filter, without a moderator, and tell them exactly what they're thinking. And so I like that he used Twitter. I'm probably in the minority on that. My brother with the clever, very clever statement there saying that Biden is the middle finger to us from the government. Oh, I hope not. I know what that feels like. Tom Beckwith saying Trump is his own worst enemy. I'm a man who has grown up feeling that I'm my own worst enemy. Working on quitting that with my wife's help. So back to Biden being the giant middle finger from the government that Dallas had to say there. Here's the deal. Biden could choose to be like Gerald Ford. You know, look, our country's been divided before. Make no mistake. Nixon was a divisive figure. There were a lot of people who loved Nixon, a lot. And there were a lot of people who didn't. And then Gerald Ford came in, and what did Gerald Ford do to help heal the nation? He issued a pardon for Nixon. He issued a pardon for Nixon, and so it started the healing process for our country. I don't know if Biden will be willing to do that. I don't know if Trump's the GOP's worst enemy. Marsha and Lindsey Graham. So that brings me back to the debate that was going on January 6th. After the riots, a lot of Republicans who said they were going to continue, who said they had something to say. Marsha Blackburn, for instance, said that she had seen things that had changed her mind, that she believed that the election had been stolen. Senator Marsha Blackburn said that she believed that. And yet, after the riots occurred, she changed her mind. And she hasn't come out and said why she changed her mind. Did someone like the things that occurred on January 6th, did that change her mind? If so, why? I'd love to have an answer to that. Trump isn't getting a pardon. He is being impeached for the third time Monday, and the Senate will have to remove or face not being reelected. Brandon, you may be right. So they're going to the Congress is going to definitely going to impeach him again. The Senate may confirm. They may just confirm. It's crazy. But it looks like that's what's going to occur. And I don't think that's healthy for our country. I don't at all. I don't. What would be healthy for our country probably would be more spirited debate and Trump riding off in the sunset. That would probably be the most healthiest thing because he's a polarizing figure. But what matters more is what he has to say. And if he could let someone else say it, that would be best for our country. That's what real leadership looks like. Think about George Washington. George Washington could have been king. There were people that wanted to make George Washington king. But after he'd served 2 terms, he stepped away. He walked away. He gave us a great speech in his final address with lots of warnings about the things that we're dealing with now, political parties, out of control, too much power. He warned about making, way too many agreements with foreign nations, getting entangled in that. And so, a lot can be learned from Washington, but the key is that he walked away. And that's what has made America different than so many other countries. When you look at Mexico, for instance, where I've lived before, their history of leaders, their early on leaders were not willing to walk away. We're not willing to give up power. We're not willing to hand it off. And so because of that, the country and the people suffered. And now if Trump holds on to power like he had claimed that he was wanting to do, and many people are telling him he should do, I think that he harms our nation. I do. And I think that what's more important is for us to find out what message he is carrying, and for us to find someone else to carry it, for us to clarify what this anger that he has led, that he has tapped into, for us to clarify why that is going on, for us to figure it out, for us to discuss that anger, for us to talk about it, for us to find solutions together. That's what we need to do. But I don't know if it's going to be possible. Yes, Donna, propaganda has been on the rise for a long time. I think Eisenhower warned us about that. So let's see here. Let's talk about cancel culture. My good buddy Mike out there said we should talk about it. So cancel culture is where if you say something that people don't agree with, they can cancel you. It's why I didn't want to do this show today, right? I was really worried about cancel culture. I work as a teacher. I love it, man. I have never felt called to do anything as much as I have with teaching. And yet I feel a call to talk to you guys about politics. I feel a calling to be honest about how I feel and to share with you guys and to try to educate you guys and try to change your minds about things, and for you to try and to give you the opportunity to change my mind about things. And I feel called to do that. I really do. And yet I worry so much about losing my job teaching because of what I'm going to say about our politics. I'm afraid that I'll be canceled. I've got a friend, a dear friend, who lost his job because of what he said about Black Lives Matter. He posted something a little off color, in my opinion, and I don't like not color as in the Black Lives Matter, but just something that was a bit insensitive. Not so insensitive that the dude should lose his job, but nonetheless, Black Lives Matter people contacted the CEO of his company. Probably a few hundred people contacted them, maybe less than 100 people. But a lot of people contacted them about my friend, and my friend lost his job. Like, seriously, lost his job, lost his like, it just blows my mind that you could lose your job for your beliefs. I just, I just don't know how I feel about that, man. And I worry, I worry, like earlier this week, I talked about the school board meeting, which was a bloody disaster. And for a whole host of reasons. And those are my bosses, right? They are my bosses. And I worried that I would lose my job about talking about it, just by mentioning it, I try to stay above the fray and try not to dive too much into how I feel about things, and just simply report as best I can to you guys of what's going on here locally. And if you've watched that show that I did earlier this week, then I'd love to get some feedback on that. Here's the one thing that I like. My one saving grace, in my opinion, well, other than Jesus Christ, is that I believe that people can get better, that they can learn from their mistakes if they choose to, and that they can get better. And so I'm always trying to get better. When you look at where I come from, and the things I believed when I was younger and where I am now, man, I have traveled many, many miles. And my journey is not over. It's not over. I have many, many more miles to go, and I'm trying my best to learn more as we go along. So, and I hope that you guys will help me. I do. So cancel culture is a worry of mine. It's a worry of other people. I think a lot of people are scared to talk about issues because they're afraid that if they say what they feel in their heart, that they will lose their job, that they'll lose their livelihood. I think people are worried about it, and I think they have a reason to be. Right now, Donald Trump has been kicked off of major platforms. And people are like, I saw my buddy Steve Lane. I don't think he'd mind me calling him out. My buddy Steve Lane, he said that there have been, I believe, 42 other presidents who didn't have a social media platform and they were just fine. And I think you're right. Steve's right. Look, Donald Trump will survive. Donald Trump could start his own platform. He's got the money to do it, or at least the credit to do it. And so he's got the money to do it. And people would follow him, right? But my buddy who lost his job, he doesn't have the money to start his own business. You know, I don't have the money to start my own school. I don't. And so if I lost my job, that would be really, man, it would break my heart. And I think it'd break my students' hearts. I really do. Oh, I love those guys. And so anyway, we're dealing with the loss of freedom of speech. We are. Now, look, so the freedom of speech is one of those things that where the question is, where do you have that freedom of speech? And so if he does, we will regulate it and shut him down. See, there you go. So Jason is in favor of cancel culture, right, Jason? Can you thumbs up or give me a hell yes if you're in favor of cancel culture? This is what I believe. And Eric and I, we don't always agree. I mean, you can ask him. We don't agree. He comes in and smacks me around a lot. You cannot force ideologies onto folks. You have to convince them. And that's what I believe we need to do. We need to convince people of the right way. I've got a buddy who hates Trump, man. And I don't want to say his name, but he's an insurance salesman. And he's really outgoing about that, but he's a Christian. And one of our mutual friends, his and my mutual friend, told him that he needed to be as outgoing about Christ as he is about his hatred for Trump. And I totally agree that I think that, because I think the matters that we are facing, the issues that we're dealing with here as a country, as a nation, as a people, are matters of the heart, that there's not enough love going around. There's a lot of hate, and that's just ugliness. Jason says not in the way I describe it. Hey, Jason, tell me if you can see this link. You click that link, and you're going to be able to come on the show. Because, look, Jason, I want you to come on. I want you to talk about it. I think it would be cool. I've never done this before. I want to hear what am I saying that's wrong? Because I think that a lot of people feel that cancel culture is what I've described. Here's his question if he's going to click that, I don't know. Are you in favor of letting Nazis walk into synagogues and say whatever they want? I believe your house, your rules. That's what I believe. Your house, your rules. And so I don't think you can walk into my house of church or of my house, my living, or my business and say whatever you want. And so my belief is that my house, my rules. And so that would mean that if Twitter's house, so Twitter's rules, right? But here's the issue. When we go back to your statement, Jason. So Twitter kicks him off because it's their house, their rules. Then I said Trump goes and starts his own thing. And you said if he does, we will regulate it and shut it down. That's good that you're trying. I don't see any alerts on my side. If it doesn't work, I can always have you call in. We'll put you on speaker. Do you have my number? I'll type it in. It's 615 445-5073. If you guys want to call in, I'll turn the speakerphone on and hopefully people can hear you. Call in. So, because cancel culture is an issue that I think, and it's a fear that people have. A lot of people went to Parler last night because they think that maybe Parler is going to be a bit more free. People are on MeWe. I'm on all these because I never know when I'm going to get canceled. And my hobby is talking to you guys. So call in. I bet I don't have you in here. Do you block your stuff, Jason? Because I just got, no, that's not you. I don't answer unknowns, just so you know. So when Jason calls in, we'll talk more about that. But the issue here is with cancel culture is how we're going to move forward. Are we going to cancel things that we don't agree with, or can we let them run and not pay attention? Does that make sense? Can we let people believe what they believe and let them believe it and leave them alone? I think that we need a bit more culture of let's just leave people alone. But see, I'm a libertarian, and so I'm going to try to convince you that it's better that way. Oh, I'll call you back. I think that we need more. Oh. Are you there? You're going to have to turn me off.
Yep, I'm here.
Let's see if we can get some thumbs up if you guys can hear Jason on my fancy phone.
Hello.
Yeah, I think we got you. It's good. Let's rock and roll here.
Let's chat.
Yeah, man. So what have I got wrong?
So on the cancel culture thing, right?
Yeah.
and to specifically this deal that we're talking about with them silencing Trump. They silence me on the regular, because I'll say something just ridiculous. And last night I got a 30-day ban because I said something ridiculous and I deserved it. I was inflamed and said some stupid stuff and I got a ban. I get that crap all the time. It's a big 31. They gave me 3 days and then changed their mind and changed it to 30. So apparently it was that bad. But anyway, I deserved that. And we are not limiting speech, right? We're not limiting speech.
So you don't feel that your speech was limited when they kicked you off an open platform?
Yeah, well, it hurts because here I am with the shit show that we've got to deal with for the next however long.
What'd you say that got you kicked off? Do you know?
Oh, it was really bad. Anyway, I'm not going to.
So it's embarrassing to you. So it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so anyhow.
But what if you had said something that, I got a buddy that got.
I've been limited for no reason. I've had someone report something before that was completely false, and because of COVID, like right when COVID first started, it was just completely. It was a 30-day ban, and I was like, man, I didn't even do anything. Somebody reported something, a video that I had recorded back in 2009.
Wow.
Literally, it was like aiming for me and went to a video I recorded.
Wow. So that's cancel culture.
Well, that is, right? And that they allow that, it is. But when we're talking about something that can incite a violent insurrection, and we have been watching this guy do this for years, right? It's dangerous. People are getting killed now, right? Not even just the other day. People are getting killed. Both sides, right? The rhetoric that he is allowed to spew, just almost unchecked, has caused so much division that you've got awful violence coming from both extremes of this political spectrum.
Hold on one second. Let's dive in on that a little bit. Look, there have been movies that have been quite murderous and things like that, and then people have been tried and murdered for and they blame those movies. That's their defense, right?
Sure.
So do we ban those movies that
movies are fiction, but
well, I'm just using the same logic that you're using. I'm trying to. I'm just trying.
Fiction. It's fantasy.
So that's
This
that's
is
okay.
Real life with real life. Well, this is real life with real life consequences.
Well, and so is if somebody watches a murder and then they go and do it.
Oh, well, sure, I guess so. But to me, that's apples and oranges. This is real life with real life consequences. There are lives at stake and livelihoods at stake with things that we say. I know that I've said things that absolutely have affected other people negatively, and they've affected me on down the road negatively. I've said and done things that have done that. So we have real life consequences for those things. And this is, it's to me, it's just, I don't see the correlation between somebody playing video games and doing that and somebody watching movies and doing that.
Okay.
That's just, to me, that it does not,
So
it doesn't make sense that that's the same.
So I've got a friend who said that he asked, do you have any examples of what Trump has said that has caused, like, do you know any off the top of your head?
Yeah, complete and total lies.
So lying
So if he
is the
says,
issue.
I have factual evidence that this election was completely rigged, and we have demonstrably proven over and over and over and over again that it's not. He's complicit. He is intending to fire people up.
Okay.
He's lying to them because they're gullible. They're just flat gullible. He's lying to them.
Well, so our senator, I'm sure you love Marcia. So she said she saw evidence.
Last time she was here, I got into a good argument with her in Fairview, but she won't come back.
So she said that she saw evidence that convinced her to be willing to change, to vote, and to support questioning those electoral college votes.
Yep, she's lying through her teeth.
So she's lying.
100% lying.
So should we cancel her?
All political.
So should we cancel her?
Well, to an extent, yeah. I mean, I don't think she should be able to just lie and not have consequences, right? She should not be able to just lie and not have severe consequences. That's not you calling me, I don't guess.
No. Okay. So my question is: so should Marcia Blackburn be removed from Twitter?
Yeah, well, I don't follow Marcia. I don't know what she's saying. There's this. I think there's got to be a fine line. The politics is always going to be that way. This is both sides do it all the freaking time. They'll get in a room and talk probably pretty well with each other, and then get out on the House floor when C-SPAN's on, and they are just going after each other, just like Chuck Schumer.
Sure, it's a show, right? I get that.
It's a freaking show.
And don't you think that sometimes what Trump is doing is a show? He's a showman. Oh no,
he absolutely 100% intends to do what is happening to this country. 100%. It is not just a show for him. I mean, yes, he loves attention, right? He's an attention whore, but this is not just a show.
So
100%.
If that's his opinion that the election was stolen.
Well, yeah. I mean, maybe it is his opinion, but there's a reason why.
Is an opinion a lie?
Yeah. Sidney, right? Rudy Giuliani.
Yeah.
All of these people. You got other lawyers that are just absolutely. They'll all be disbarred. By the way, every single one of them will be disbarred because there's absolute proof that they are out of their freaking minds. Right? I mean, there is 100%. They will be disbarred. There is no doubt. And is that silencing? Yes, it is. They deserve to be silenced. When you go around, if you're a land surveyor who has to go through and get a license to be a land surveyor, and you are derelict in your duties of living up to what that licensing represents, and you screw people out of stuff, and you miss things and all that, they are going to pull your license. I believe this. I know a lot of people aren't. You're a fan of not licensing and stuff like that, right?
Right.
Yeah, I believe that we need to have those for certain things. Doctors, right?
Yeah.
That there needs to be licensing for those things.
Well,
do
I think that the free market would put some reviews in place, and
sure.
And I don't think we should get rid of licensing completely right away, right? But I do think that we should start rolling it back, and eventually, I'd love to see all licenses go away.
Well, I mean, yeah, but how do you stop somebody if you don't have to have a license to practice medicine?
Well, then you would work as an intern and you'd get, like people, it'd be more of a buyer beware situation for sure. But, so I get your point, but,
I'm not, I think
doctors would probably be the last thing, right? I'm going to roll it back slowly, right? But
yeah, obviously, I promise you, you don't want an unlicensed land surveyor coming out giving you something.
well, I wouldn't hire one that I didn't get off of like from good authority. So is kind of my feeling on it. So let's go back to the question I had: Is an opinion a lie?
Well, I mean, it depends on if it's a lie or not.
Well, but what if you earnestly believe it?
It doesn't matter if you earnestly believe it.
Okay, when it comes to, does it depend upon the context?
Maybe it depends on the context. I guarantee you it depends on whether or not it negatively impacts your neighbors.
Do we need a Ministry of Information to decide if that's the case?
Man, I don't know. I don't know, but I mean, I know
that was 1984. That's where I got that one from. So.
Right. You can, yeah, Orwell's fun, but you can, I don't know. Here, back to the whole Twitter thing, just because that's what we started on.
Sure, let's get back to Twitter.
I absolutely believe Twitter had the 100% right and should have, probably a long time ago, got rid of that guy.
And I can agree with that. Okay. I can. Because I said that I believe my house, my rules, right? And so that's Twitter's house, Twitter's rules. Fair enough. Right. You don't want somebody at your house, you have the right to kick them out, right?
I do think there is some, I do kind of take issue with, I think it's hilarious right now that it's happening, so I'm kind of giggling about it, but I do take issue with limiting Parler right now, right?
Okay.
Allowing, Google Play removed them completely. Apple's giving them to the end of today.
Right.
Before they're removed. So they're going to people were trying to sign up for Parler last night. Good.
That's right.
They were literally shutting down a platform. And so I'm kind of like, ooh, that's a little bit scary, because you've got people out there pulling the plug. Really. I mean, other companies pulling the plug on other companies, but I guess they're allowed to do that. I don't know. I do think it's hilarious.
That one's a slippery slope, man.
It is a slippery slope. Because hey, sometimes I get upset. I looked at my band this morning.
Are you on Parler?
No.
I see you posting pictures from Parler, so I didn't know if you had a Jason Diggler account on Parler.
People feed me screenshots of it all the time. So
gotcha.
But I'm not going to get on there.
I'm on Parler. I'm on Parler. I'm on Rumble. I'm on all this new stuff coming out.
Well, you might not be able to get on it tonight.
There were problems getting on it last night. So, and I don't know if it's because so many people were hitting it, but
I imagine that's probably part of it.
Yeah.
But anyway, absolutely, it is a slippery slope when we talk about limiting people's free speech, right? But
right. I always caution people. Remember when we had the Muslim issue here, right? I always caution people. I'm like, look, the same hammer you use on people will one day be used on you.
And here you go, right now. Right now, it's a perfect example.
Yeah.
And I mean, I remember that. I absolutely remember that. They flat did not want them practicing their religious beliefs here, especially, our county mayor was one of the biggest opponents of that. So, and it's the same thing. You can't build a mosque here. You're going to build this freaking mosque here. It's like, you know what? I was a member of World Outreach Church during that time, by the way.
Yeah,
during the whole mosque thing, and I attended several small groups throughout the week, not only just going to church on Saturday or Sunday.
Well, I'm going to cut you off on that subject because that's a rabbit hole I want to go down some other time. So let's do that. Is that okay? We'll talk about that then.
But the whole speech thing, that's exactly what I argued at that time.
Right, exactly right.
Telling folks that you can't. You build this mosque when we have the freedom of religion in this country.
Well, and so that's why I'm just real cautious about what we decide, who we're going to ban and things of that nature.
We should be. But, when people are getting.
So are you willing to change your position where you said earlier that if he goes to and starts his own thing that you won't want to regulate it? Or have I changed your mind on that?
Be regulated. Whether I think it's right or not.
Well, all I care about is your mind and your opinion, right?
This is my honest opinion about what needs to happen with Donald Trump from here on out. I don't think he ever needs to be able to have a voice to speak to the public and influence.
Ooh, those are strong words, man. Strong words.
I understand what that is. What I mean by that is they need to put him in Gitmo for the rest of his life.
Like I knew that's where you were going. Yeah. All right, man. I'm gonna hop off. I got more people calling in, but
all right, gotcha. All right, cool.
Bye, Jason. Wow. So if you tried calling in just a second ago, call back. Let's see here. So that last little bit that Jason said there, that's power. That's powerful right there, right? Like he wants to put Donald Trump in Guantanamo for his opinions because they're dangerous. Who's next? Who are we going to put in Guantanamo after Donald Trump? And who's to say that we stop there? You've got the Middle Ground Podcast. Who is this?
Hey, this is Dallas. I've been chiming in on YouTube.
Thank you. What do you want to add?
Man, whoever that guy was on the phone, it's just like every other anti-Trump guy. I'm not saying I'm pro-Trump. I'm definitely saying I'm anti-Biden. But all this quote-unquote proof that he was talking about, he can't give a single example when there's multiple examples of voter fraud all across the country in key swing states.
Well,
that definitely affected it. It's not an opinion. It's fact. People have voted from vacant lots in Nevada, which is illegal. All the counting of the votes, without people being able to observe the count. Counting after a fake water line breaks, which has been proved to not have been true. These are all lies. And it's like what you're saying, he should be canceled on Twitter. Trump should be canceled on Twitter. And I asked him straight up, what has he said that's incited violence? Not one single example. So it's like he's just preaching rhetoric.
Right. But what do you think about my idea of my house, my rules?
Well, that's true. That's true. However, you can't like advertise free speech, but you have to be consistent with it. I think it's like you can't let me come up in your house and talk a certain way, and be like, "Hey, that's not acceptable here," and then let someone else get away with it.
Well,
I think you have to be consistent.
I don't know. I don't think so. Like, I think if I have some friends over for a party at my house, right, and then somebody starts talking crazy, turns out they're a Nazi and I didn't know it, right, and so they're talking poorly about Jews, and I've got Jewish friends, and I ask them to leave, but then somebody else stands up and starts talking bad about I don't know some other group, and I choose not to kick him out. Like, you see, like I it's my house. I can choose who's there. Right. Yeah, maybe the second person is my crazy brother-in-law. And so, I let him stick around because he's a crazy brother-in-law.
Well, doesn't that make you racist then? Like, if you're going to allow one group of people to talk shit about another group of people and then allow this group of people
that's a good point.
to get away with it, then you're just
racist. So Twitter is, right? What Twitter is showing by kicking off one and not another, right? They're showing which way they lean.
Yeah, they're showing their bias.
Right. Yeah. And so I agree with you on your statement that kicking one out and not all that have violated the rule shows your bias. And so thank you for calling in. Anything else you want to add real quick?
Yes, I would just like to see this Jason Diggler guy come back with some actual facts that back up the reason why he's so ingrained.
I'm sure he will post some on Facebook for you. Just keep.
Biden is a tool. I see that.
Yeah,
and it's like if you'd rather vote for a tool than a mouthpiece, that says a lot about you.
Well, thanks for calling in, man.
Thanks a lot.
So we've got heated discussions on both sides. We got people talking about both sides. I'm hoping that I can get people to agree with me that my house, my rules works. I'm just not in favor of us going and deciding to regulate everyone's house, right? And regulate the social medias. I don't think that's government's job. That's kind of here's your water issue. There you go. Thank you, Protic. If I could ever get you to come on here and start educating some people, that'd be awesome. All right. So, guys, I think this show was very productive. I really do. And I hope that, and reason I think this show has been productive is because I feel like I've let people from both sides talk about things, and yet no one has been harmed. Not yet. And so I think that's good. And I think that's what we need in this country. We need people to be willing to talk about issues. And then at the end of the day, go, hey, thanks for letting me come on to the show. Right. Thanks for just listening, just sitting quietly while I speak. Right. Let's discuss these ideas. Let's be open about them. Right. Like, let's not shout each other down. Let's not do that. Let's let people speak. Let them run. I believe that if someone is talking something crazy, right? So when I was in school at Western Kentucky, we had this guy that would come on, and he was like one of those preachers, a shouting preacher, and he'd stand on the corner there, and he would start shouting, and he would talk about the girls walking by with too short of dresses on or whatever. He would talk. He was like one of those guys, right? And so he's talking about this, and all you had to do was sit there and listen to the guy for a little while, and you'd go, man, I don't agree with him. He's just way too judgmental. And I don't think Christ was judgmental. And so he lost his ability to share the message that he wanted because people listened to him. And I think that if we will listen to people, that we will come to our own agreements, and then we'll be like, this is what we agree with. This is what we disagree with. And I'm not going to listen to this guy. I'm just not. Now, Jason has some valid points. Dallas called in. He had some valid points. And so, but I don't think I'm ever going to get those two on the same page, And so, amen to that. I got a text into the show here. Social media companies have protection because of the fact that they do not edit. This seems to be the ultimate edit to me. Also, social media has become a means of communication. So should the phone company be allowed to cancel you because they do not like what you're saying? Let me read that to you guys one more time. That is a really good comment. I wish I could get up on the show. Social media companies have protection because of the fact that they do not edit. I think he's alluding to something that Trump's has been trying to get changed. This seems to be the ultimate edit to me, right? Removing someone from your platform is the ultimate edit. I agree. Also, social media is a means of communication, and so should the phone company be allowed to cancel you because they don't like what you're saying? And so that's an interesting question. That's what we need to talk about. We need to think about this. Before we go canceling stuff, you need to remember that the hammer you use on one minority may one day be used on you. Thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate you. I love all of you. And as long as I'm not canceled, I'm going to be on here, and I'll keep talking to you guys. And hopefully we'll keep this discussion going. Thanks for tuning in. Like, share the show. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Middle Ground Podcast, hosted by Answer Fancher. Finally, a political podcast that isn't left or right. It's right down the middle. Make sure to like, rate, and review, and tell a friend or two. That would help also. Coming to you from Middle Tennessee with a political view right down the middle. You've been listening to the Middle Ground Podcast. See you soon.
Oh, I'm back. I don't mean to be here. Bye, guys.